In 1987, A Different World wasn't just another sitcom. It was a cultural reset. A series that redefined Black excellence on television, showcasing identity, education, love, ambition, and the messy, complicated beauty of growing up. We watched Whitley, Dwayne, Kim, Ron, Freddie, Denise, and the entire Hillman College family come of age on screen. But while America fell in love with them, behind the scenes, many cast members were fighting battles we never knew existed. Some lost careers. Some lost marriages. Some lost themselves. Some faced tragedies far heavier than anything the writers could have dreamed up. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on the 15 deepest, rawest truths behind the cast of A Different World, and where they stand now, in 2025. But first, before we jump in, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Your support helps us bring you more hidden Hollywood stories the world never talks about. Alright, let's begin. Fire Fact 1. The debut's disappearing legacy. Let's start with one of the most surprising truths. A Different World wasn't just a hit. It was a cultural movement, inspiring thousands of young Black students to attend HBCUs. But the show's success didn't offer long-term stability for everyone. Here's the harsh reality. Many cast members became instantly recognizable, yet strangely invisible to casting directors. It's one of Hollywood's cruelest ironies. The show that launched them also boxed them in. For some actors, A Different World became both. Heavy checkmark their biggest blessing, and heavy checkmark their career's biggest limitation. They weren't rejected because of talent. They were rejected because industry people couldn't see past Hillman College. A legacy that changed millions, but didn't protect the actors who built it. Fire Fact 2. Dawn Lewis. The two-season emotional Fisher Dawn Lewis, who played Jaleesa, was the reliable, organized, confident resident advisor. On screen, she was stability. Off-screen, her exit after season 2 was a shock, not just to fans but to her. Her removal wasn't explained. Not properly, not respectfully. It hit her like a betrayal. And while she was still recovering from that professional blow, her personal life collapsed too. Her marriage to Johnny McCall ended painfully. She described the experience as emotionally shattering. 2 major losses, her role and her relationship, back to back. That kind of double heartbreak leaves marks. But Dawn rebuilt herself through music, songwriting, and activism. Her strength came from creating, even when her career didn't give her the credit she deserved. Fire Fact 3. Mary Alice. The matriarch's isolation. Mary Alice, Letty, was the steady emotional backbone of the series. But the real Mary Alice? She lived a life of extreme privacy. She didn't chase fame. She avoided tabloids. She kept her world small, quiet, and fiercely protected. Success brought her money, stability, and respect. But it also amplified her solitude. In her later years, as her health declined, she withdrew from public life entirely. When she passed away in 2022, her death reflected her life. Quiet, private, deeply dignified. A powerful reminder that applause is loud, but it doesn't always fill the silence when the cameras turn off. Fact 4. Cree Summer. The voice Hollywood overlooked. Cree Summer was the free-spirited activist Freddie Brooks. But that was only one part of her talent. While acting in A Different World, she also exploded into a legendary voice acting career. She became one of the most iconic voice actors in animation history. But Hollywood has a strange contradiction. They loved her voice, but often ignored her face. Her physical presence wasn't offered the same opportunities as her voice. This created a painful double life. Heavy checkmark behind the mic. Celebrated, adored, unstoppable. Heavy checkmark in live-action auditions. Overlooked, undercast, undervalued. She succeeded, wildly. But in the exact field she didn't originally plan to dominate. An actress with enormous range. Forced into a box she didn't choose. Fire Fact 5. Jasmine Guy. The princess burden of perfection. Jasmine Guy wasn't just acting when she played Whitley Gilbert. She was building one of television's most iconic characters. Whitley wasn't written to be deep. Jasmine made her deep. She gave Whitley layers. The humor, the vulnerability, the heartbreak, the charm, and that unforgettable Southern grace. But behind the flawless performance was real pressure. Jasmine was a trained dancer, disciplined, perfectionist, and endlessly hard-working. So when Hollywood demanded she look perfect, act perfect, move perfect, she pushed herself way past her limits. People saw Whitley's elegance. They didn't see Jasmine's injuries, exhaustion, or the emotional weight she carried behind closed doors. Fans adored the polished performance. But Jasmine paid for it with stress, fatigue, and moments of private grief she never shared publicly. Her success wasn't effortless. It was built on sacrifice, and she rarely got credit for how much she gave. Fact 6. Kadeem Hardison, the career cage of Dwayne Wayne. Dwayne Wayne wasn't supposed to be a TV icon, but Kadeem Hardison turned him into one. The flip-up glasses, the nerdy charm, the comedic timing, the brilliant chemistry with Jasmine Guy. He made the character unforgettable. But after the show ended, his biggest gift became his biggest curse. Hollywood couldn't see past Dwayne Wayne. Kadeem wasn't rejected because he lacked talent. He was rejected because casting directors believed audiences could only see him as that character. It became what many actors fear: a career cage. Years of slow auditions, limited roles, and the same feedback. You're great, but we just can't unsee Dwayne. So Kadeem had to rebuild his career from the ground up. Not with blockbuster roles, but with steady, patient reinvention. It took decades for the industry to finally see the actor beyond the glasses. Fact 7. Daryl M. Bell, the comedian's silent drought. Ron Johnson was funny, confident, stylish, a lovable troublemaker. But when A Different World ended, Daryl M. Bell faced something far less humorous. A long, painful career drought. Just like Kadeem, he was instantly recognizable. People would stop him on the street. Fans adored him. But casting directors? Not so much. They saw Ron Johnson, not the actor behind him. Imagine walking into auditions already knowing the room has decided your fate before you even speak. Imagine being famous enough that everyone knows you, but not enough to hire you. It was humiliating. Quietly, deeply humiliating. Daryl later reappeared in reality TV, where he opened up more about life, love, and career struggles. Those appearances showed what fans never knew. Fame can fade fast, but the emotional bruises stay a long time. Fact 8. Jasmine Guy, the actress Hollywood called too specific. After her breakout success, Jasmine Guy expected to receive the same opportunities as other leading actresses. Instead, Hollywood told her she was too strong, too elegant, too specific. A subtle but painful form of industry bias. What they really meant was, Jasmine didn't fit the limited, narrow image that Hollywood offered black actresses at the time. Roles weren't written for women with her sophistication. Characters weren't designed to match her power, her grace, her intelligence. So instead of waiting for opportunities, she created them. She returned to theater. She directed. She mentored younger artists. She built a career on her terms. Jasmine Guy proved something powerful. When Hollywood closes a door, you don't wait. You build your own stage. Fact 9. Glynn Turman, the Colonel's unimaginable loss. Glynn Turman brought a powerful, commanding presence to Colonel Taylor, the tough-love father figure of Hillman College. But what audiences didn't know was that behind that steady discipline was a man carrying a heartbreak almost too heavy to imagine. Before joining A Different World, Turman suffered a tragedy no parent is ever prepared for. In 1986, his son, Glynn Turman Jr., was killed in gang-related violence. Losing a child doesn't just break you, it changes every part of who you are. When Turman stepped onto the Hillman set, he wasn't just acting as a man who had seen life. He was a man who had lived through the harshest reality imaginable. The deep wisdom, The quiet, emotional weight. The stern love he radiated on screen? That came from real pain and real healing. For many fans, Colonel Taylor was comfort, structure, and wisdom. For Glynn Turman, he was a chance to channel grief into purpose, and to honor his son through storytelling that uplifted an entire generation. Fact 10. Lisa Bonet, the pregnancy that became an escape. Lisa Bonet was already a major star when she joined A Different World as Denise Huxtable. But her real life quickly overshadowed her on-screen storyline. When she became pregnant, the studio panicked. Not because of her talent, but because Hollywood at the time had strict, unforgiving expectations for young female stars. Suddenly, applause turned into scrutiny. Praise turned into pressure. Bonet decided to leave the series, a move many fans misunderstood. But for her, it wasn't just a professional choice. It was personal survival. Lisa needed space. She needed privacy. She needed peace. Stepping away from the spotlight allowed her to heal, grow, and reclaim her identity, away from TV cameras and industry judgment. Her exit wasn't a career ending. It was an emotional escape. Fact 11. Charneil Brown, the quiet trauma of the pre-med. Charneil Brown played Kim Reese, the overworked, sleep-deprived pre-med student who represented the pressure of academic excellence. But off-screen, Charneil faced her own uphill climb. After the show ended, she struggled to find consistent work. She wasn't rejected because of lack of skill. She was rejected because Hollywood often failed to create meaningful roles for darker-skinned black actresses. Despite her talent, she found herself overlooked, undervalued, pushed aside. This created a quiet emotional toll, a sadness she carried privately. She eventually returned to theater, the one place that never shut its doors on her. And she built something powerful. Her own production company, her own students, her own stage. Charneil Brown turned pain into mentorship, becoming the support she wished she had. Fact 12. Sinbad, a life of turbulence and resilience. Sinbad, Coach Walter Oakes, was the show's comedic backbone, warm, loud, charismatic, and impossible to ignore. But his personal life, it was far from simple. He married Meredith Fuller in 1985, then divorced in 1992, then reconciled and remarried years later. Their relationship went through intense highs and lows, pulled apart by fame, touring schedules, and the chaos of show business. But the biggest challenge came in 2020, when Sinbad suffered a severe stroke. His recovery was long, painful, and physically draining. But he fought through it with the same determination that made him a fan favorite. His journey is proof that the hardest battles of celebrity life aren't fought on TV, but in the quiet, personal moments the world never sees. Fact 13. Daryl M. Bell. A partnership that defied Hollywood. Daryl M. Bell's real-life relationship became one of the most quietly powerful stories to emerge from the cast. He and Tempest Bledsoe, yes, Vanessa from The Cosby Show, have been together for decades. But their love story confused Hollywood. Why? Because they chose something rare, something almost unheard of in celebrity culture. Partnership over paperwork. No wedding, no ring, no ceremony, just commitment. For years, they faced questions, criticism, and assumptions. Why aren't you married? When is the wedding? Is something wrong? But they proved something important. A strong relationship doesn't need validation from an audience. Through career highs, droughts, moves, opportunities, and heartbreaks, they stayed together. Their bond outlasted many Hollywood marriages, and without ever needing a marriage license. Their story is less about avoiding commitment, and more about choosing authenticity over expectations. Fact 14. Jada Pinkett Smith, the marriage that was never truly a marriage. Jada Pinkett Smith, who played Lena James, would later become part of one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples. But what the world didn't know is that Jada was never fully comfortable with the idea of marriage in the first place. In her memoir, she revealed that she married Will Smith too young, too unsure, too unprepared. She felt pushed by family, expectations, and the weight of sudden fame. And while the world crowned them the golden couple, inside their home things were collapsing quietly. By 2016, she and Will were living separate lives. Emotionally, spiritually, and physically. They maintained the image of unity because the world expected it. But behind that polished red carpet glow was a couple struggling to stay connected. Her story changed the way many fans viewed her. Not as a Hollywood diva, but as a woman trying to navigate love, identity, and pressure under the world's brightest spotlight. Fire Fact 15. The Oscars slap. The moment everything cracked open. The 2022 Oscars were supposed to be a celebration. But instead, the world witnessed one of the most shocking moments in live television history. Will Smith walked onto the stage and slapped Chris Rock in front of millions. That single moment changed everything. Not just for Will, not just for Chris Rock, but for Jada as well. The slap became a symbol of bottled-up tension, a symbol of years of unspoken issues, a symbol of a marriage already fractured behind the scenes. For Jada, it exposed her private life to global scrutiny and forced the world to confront the truth the couple had been hiding for years. It wasn't just a slap. It was an eruption, the breaking point of a story that had been developing quietly since 2016. Fans saw chaos. But behind that chaos were two people trying, and failing, to carry the weight of a public image they could no longer sustain. From heartbreak to reinvention. From industry rejection to emotional survival. From private trauma to public pressure. The cast of A Different World didn't just entertain a generation. They shaped it. They gave us characters who felt real, flawed, ambitious, and inspirational. But their real lives were even more dramatic than the storylines of Hillman College. Mary Alice taught us that grace can exist in solitude. Glynn Turman reminded us that strength can rise from unimaginable loss. Jasmine Guy showed the world what perseverance looks like in the face of industry bias. Lisa Bonet proved the importance of choosing yourself. And the modern journeys of Jada, Sinbad, Kadeem, Cree, and others show us that success does not erase pain. It simply gives you more tools to survive it. Their resilience, their ability to rebuild, restart, and rediscover themselves, is the true legacy of A Different World. If any story in this video touched your heart, tell us in the comments below. We read every single one. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so you never miss the next Hollywood story we uncover.